Hey, this is MassX with a brand new Bleach Soul Reaper video, and we're going to talk a little bit about endgame content with your characters. We're going to talk about the Soul Jade area, which just got released, and how important it actually will be down the road, as well as your ascension of your Zanpakutōs and how particular you need to be about that. So first we're going to talk about Soul Jade, okay? Now, as you can see, this is a rare. It only has 3 slots available. If you look at an SSR Plus, that is limited, or an event, it's going to have 6. And an SR with 3, rare with 3, and then as we go up, here I'll show you an event character. White Ichigo, of course, will have 6. Ukiora will have 6. And now the easier SSR pluses to get will only have 4, okay? So the ones that aren't on the limited banners that are in the general pool, just so you're aware, so when you're building, you're not surprised. So, for instance, Mayuri only has 4, but Byakuya has 6. Pretty simple stuff, right? Gin is only going to have 4. Soifon only 4, etc., etc. So when you look in your inventory, you're going to see that they do different things, okay? And you can look, like the reds are attack, these light blue ones are speed, which of course are going to be really important, as well as you've got break. There's also crit damage. The list goes on and on, so you want to be careful when you're putting these for what you want to help your character with. Now, of course, speed's a no-brainer, attack is a no-brainer for a lot of these, but if you want to tank somebody up, you may pull the HP and the defense and use those. So keep that in mind when you're building it. And it basically is a very simple system that is going to take time. So basically what you do is, when your character is at a level 1, they can only use level 1 of the Soul Jades. When they're at level 2, they can use level 2 Soul Jades, and so. Pretty simple, and you have to use character shards to, of course, get your character farther along. So that's the trade-off, okay? So think about it that way. Someone like Mayuri, that's not very difficult to get the shards. Well, I already got him to 4 because I'm focusing on his shards anywhere in the game I can get them. But I'm not going to be able to do that with Yamamoto, so he's going to be stuck at 1 for a while. So don't look at the 6v4 as necessarily a huge disadvantage on your SSR pluses, because my Mayuri's got +4s on there. What's that mean? Well, he's got a reduced Ryoku. His attack is going to be much higher than, if you look at a level 4 attack is 3375. You look at a level 1, it's 1000. See where I'm going with this one? At first I was like, oh man, that stinks. But then when I started thinking about it, the difficulty level of getting these other characters up is going to be very hard. Now, Unohana is one of the few characters, of course, that you can get the shards in the game. She has 6 slots. I was able to get her to 2 painfully, so that's great, but it's going to be very difficult because it increases the shard count each level. So yeah, it's tough. Synthesis is very simple, okay? So if you click on any of your Soul Jades, even ones that are being used, you'll have a choice in synthesize, and it's really simple. 2 of the same will get you to the next level. That's simple, okay? 2 of the same will get you to the next level. Now, the success rate at 100% will start to go down at some point. I haven't seen it go down yet, and the farthest I've gone is 4. I'm sure it's coming soon, and it will probably drop by 10 to 20%. And I'm not sure where it maxes out, because I don't think it says in here. It does not. My guess is it's going to max at 10 at best, and that's a long way off. And they don't even tell you in the Soul Jade skill area, you know, you embed 4 Soul Jades, okay, great. 4 Soul Jades reach level something, 4 out of 4, but it doesn't tell you. So yeah, so who knows, maybe it's something that will be added. But as you can see, let's take someone that's going to be very obvious, like Mayuri. Now he's getting a plus almost 17,000 for his HP, 3,000 plus for his attack, 1,000 for his defense, an extra 24 speed, okay? And then a reduction on the Ryoku of plus 4. Very significant stats there. So yeah, don't sleep on this, but don't hyper focus on it. I did this for purposes of the video. To me, you get them, you just keep moving forward. If there's somebody that's going to be a mainstay of your team for a while, like I'm expecting Mayuri, then I'm farming his shards to be able to level this up, and he'll be my focal point to see how far I can go with it. And then I'll get a gauge on what it's going to take for other characters. And most likely, you know, Unohana, because even though she's got 6, I can get her shards in different areas of the games. Same with Gin, same with Soifon. So those are going to be the easy ones to really start moving forward with. So yeah, it's a big statting. I mean, look at Soifon at 2. You know, she's still getting 1,500 attack on there and plus 16 speed and a 2% break addition. You know, not bad. I mean, they're definitely not bad stats, but don't go hog wild looking for, you know, going crazy. Focus on one character at a time, except for the caveat. Your team, when you have enough of them, just make sure they're equipped on everybody, even if they're level 1. Like my Yamamoto, it's not adding a ton, but it's enough. It helps. I mean, 5,000 HP, I'll take it. An extra 1,000 attack, why not? Yeah, he's only getting plus 1 speed. I'll probably switch it out for something else until he gets higher up, if he ever does. But you see where I'm going with this one? Make sure you put him in, but don't go crazy and focus on the most important character to your team and you. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is your Zanpakutō awakenings. Yes, you first get the release, 1 sword, piece of cake. Maybe you slowly acquire another sword or 2 so you can get that next one opened up. And for most characters, it's just a reduction in the Ryoku cost, which is nice. It's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And for most of them, the second one is the same thing. That's why you're not going to go crazy on this, but it does help to be able to have more, be able to go off and not have to run out of your Ryoku. But they get really funky when you get the 3 and 4. For instance, with Mayuri, it increases his basic HP after revival from 40 to 80%. That is big, okay? That is big. And some of them are just absolutely bonkers. Unohana, who I did a video on, who I said is the only character that I would recommend getting. Why? Because of power creep with DPS. She's a support. She could last a while. Well, I've been super focused on mine. As you can see, I took the free shards for White Ichigo, took the free shards so far for Ukiura, even though I want to try to do some testing with him. But I'm just not they're not blowing me away. And I definitely think Ukiura is way better than White Ichigo, like I talked about previously. But you need to look at their Awaken section too, because that is going to be an end game content to really consider with a character. And let's look at Unohana's, for instance, okay? The first one, like we talked about, all right, reduces by 5. But look at her second one, okay? It doesn't reduce by 5 the Ryoku cost. It brings in another effect already. Those are the things you want to look for when you're considering going after a character down the road, as well as if it's worth the Awaken. So for her, the additional effect, casting a skill grants the ally with the lowest HP a shield that absorbs damage equal to 300% of caster's attack. Effect lasts 2 turns. Really nice. Not crazy, but nice. Let's look at her 3. I just was able to open this up in the last 24 hours and have been testing it. And if I can get the Unohana Loop, and we'll show some of that to you guys. It's not foolproof, okay? And if she dies, she dies. But her 3 effect, casting a skill grants the ally with the lowest HP and all front row allies a shield that absorbs damage equal to 300% of caster's attack like above. The shield lasts 2 turns. That is crazy. And her 4 isn't as crazy as her 3, but it's also really nice. She heals herself for 120% attack at the beginning of each turn, which is going to make her survive, make her much more difficult to kill, unless somebody can one-turn her. Yeah, see where I'm going? I didn't even consider this when I was looking at her, nor the other characters when I started the game, because I was so hyper-focused on who I could build, what the team comps are, what the meta is. But it is going to be very important to look at what you can do awakening that character's Zanpakutō further, making choices on characters. So yeah, it is absolutely sick. Now, while we talk about a little bit more of this, I'll put a little of the Unohana Loop on here so you guys can take a look at it. It's pretty crazy. If you get to the loop, it's really good. It really is. But it's not foolproof. But think about it. This is what the setup is, as if you're watching it in the background, okay? You've got, and this is where you got to have some, lack of a better word, balls, okay? Because you don't play normal every time. What usually happens is most people are running Byakuya and they're having them go first turn. Well, a lot of times I have to think about what my Ryatsu count is and will I have enough for Unohana and Mayuri, and how do I prioritize this? So a lot of times my Byakuya is not hitting the back row, which is scary sometimes because now you've got that 6 coming at you and you know you're going to lose possibly 1 or 2 characters in the back row. And so I purposely now have to put Unohana and Mayuri on the front line, and I put my Byakuya up there too because I want him to be able to hit back row turn 2 to hopefully even out the playing field. So as you're probably watching this, you can see, and it's going to change too. I'll put a couple different portions of different matches, but the key is you want, at a minimum, you need your Unohana to go and be able to use her Minazuki. You need that to go as soon as possible. Then after that, you can then let your Ryatsu go. To me, I prioritize Mayuri. After that, it just matters on what type of team I'm playing. It could be Yamamoto, it could be Gin. It just matters. And I know a lot of people like to use Soifon, but she's one of my sacrificial lambs. I put her on the back line. I haven't leveled her up as much as everybody else. I just have to expect to lose somebody. She's the one. I pray that Gin and Yamamoto last, or at least one of the two. So if Byakuya comes around turn 2, he has to hit that, and most people will do that, as well as the AI, which then buys me the time to really ramp up the loop. But yeah, it's a fun little loop that I have going right now. But to kind of circle back around, why it's going to be important to look at these awakenings is, and as this plays in the background, for instance, White Ichigo's, it just does the Ryoku for 1 and 2. And on 3, it just casts the skill, increases his crit by 50% for 3 turns. And 4, which is way long off, reduces damage taken for 2 turns. Nice, but I wouldn't say absolutely amazing. So it goes hand in hand with my thoughts that the character is good, but they'll be better versions of Ichigo to come. And with Ukiura, same thing. 1 and 2, reduce the Ryoku. 3, the additional effect casts a skill, applies a stack of terror to the target. That is actually really nice for his toolkit, because if you remember, they take 20% of the character's HP as damage if you stack 3 terrors. So yeah, that will help a lot, making it quicker. And his 4, nice too. It increases his Ryoku regeneration, and that's important because now you're doing more of his Sero, which in turn means more tears, which means more damage. So he has a really nice kit, and I'll go down saying Ukiura is way better than White Ichigo, even more so now. But yeah, look at the characters that you're building and who you want to build, and make sure you're paying attention to that, because that Awaken skill to me is now going to be a very important factor in determining the characters that really deserve to be called either must-gets or highly ranked. And it's actually caused me to pull back from redoing my tier list and really reading all of these thoroughly to decide. Yamamoto is another good example, because his 1 and 2, again, you're just reducing the Ryoku cost. And 3, this is the one that I think is actually pretty cool. When battle starts, he reduces healing done by targets by 30%. Doesn't sound phenomenal, but if you're playing anybody ready to healer, that's gonna handicap them quite a bit. So yeah, really look at those when you're considering your characters that you want to build, because honestly, I think some of them are just really good. Byakuya's is also really good. His 3 that applies silence to the target. That's 60% chance. That's pretty darn good. So yeah, I would really look at these when you're considering building characters. But Unohana is the one that's really out of the ordinary, because very few characters don't have the Ryoku reduced on 2. And the fact that she gets the additional effect starting on 2 and the additional effect on 3, to me, makes her definitely now a top tier long-term character. So yeah, and I hope you enjoyed some of the video there of the Unohana Loop. I find it pretty funny. I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating, and I don't know if I'll ever get the 4, because it takes 4 of her swords, and that's going to take forever, and I don't even know if it's worth that. But I can see this character being around for a while because of it, because she doesn't have limitations on her. Like, it's not just for Soul Reapers, etc., things like that. So yeah, hope this was a fun video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a kick out of it. But yeah, Soul Jades and your Awaken Zanpakutō is 2 areas that you really need to focus on in this game and think about if you're going to play it for a while, because it is that, to me, that's end game stuff where you're building, you're going to be playing for a while, and really take the time to decide who is most important, and those are the characters that you want to move forward with in the future. And we'll talk about this more, especially when I start tiering characters. I'm going to not only rate the character at 4-star, but I'm going to rate the character as endgame content too. So with that, as always, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Have a great day.